Welcome to BattleTech in the Morning with Captain Nips. I'm Captain Nips, and this continues to be the BattleTech Backer Beta Phase 2 Extravaganza. Yeah, maybe not that last part. But we do have Stompy Bots, and we do have time. So we should crash the Stompy Bots into each other. In this week's somewhat ongoing theme, I'm going to continue to poke at Bulwark.
Welcome, Commander.
Because I'm starting to get a suspicion that Bulwark is vastly overtuned. Now that evasive move has been tweaked to a place that seems relatively balanced, it's time to find the next most broken thing. So the next most broken thing seems to be Bulwark. So for today's episode, I want to put two lances of identical creation, as close as I can, up against each other, with one side having Bulwark and one side having evasive move. So today I'm going to play the Bulwark side, and I've decided to go with Jenners on both sides because I feel like Jenners have a good balance of armor versus weapons, so that is relatively even in that regard. But more importantly, Jenners are fast enough to benefit from the evasive move. It wouldn't do us very much good to have, like in the Atlas video yesterday, I don't know if anyone noticed, but trying to leverage evasive move with an Atlas is very hard because they don't move far enough. Jenners have lots of movement. It is very easy to get lots of movement modifier and double that up with evasive move. So the plan here is to pit my Jenners, put them in a spot, Bulwark up, and let the enemy Jenners run at me and try and shoot them down and then win the game. You know, the usual shtick. As for pilots, if you go through the roster, and it's actually very interesting. If you look at the roster and you look for, let's talk about Bulwark pilots for a sec. I always start with gunnery and go down because generally I want the best shot. I want the pilots with the best shot, with the good eyes. So you've got Wildfire, who has Bulwark. And then if you go down the rest of the list, here's Buckshot, who is already in one of my Jenners at gunnery 5. And you will see there are no other pilots currently available with Bulwark. And that's because they are all equipped to mechs. They have all been assigned mechs. So what does this give you? This gives you, if we put aside Wildfire for a second, because Wildfire is a somewhat of an anomaly. You've got Buckshot, gunnery 5. You've got Ozone, who we'll get to also in a minute, with gunnery 4. Mockingbird, who I think I have to go way down the list here. Yep. Gunnery 3, and Sumo, gunnery 5. So there aren't any real crack shots, aside from Wildfire, that also have Bulwark. Now on the other side, if you look at the pilots that have evasive move, let's just go down the list again, starting with highest gunnery and go down, you'll notice here's Blockade, who is already assigned a mech, and here's Witness at gunnery 3, but there are no other pilots here because they're all also already equipped to mechs. So in terms of relative gunnery skills, it's fairly even. You've got Blockade at 5, you've got Ozone, who is a literal mirror match at 4. We got Ozones across the board. Showboat at 4, who beats out Mockingbird at 3, but it's kind of a horse apiece. Those are bad numbers. They're both bad numbers. And then you have Paradise, scroll up to find, at 5 against Sumo, who has gunnery 5. So in terms of gunnery, we're relatively evenly matched. As long as you ignore Wildfire. Wildfire kind of skews the picture, so don't. We're going to put her out of... We're going to leave her in the med bay for this one after all those head hits she's taken in the last week or so. Now, Ozone is interesting because he plays both sides of this. He's got both Bulwark and Evasive Move, and he's the only pilot that has that. I don't know that it matters so much, but I would not be surprised if the enemy AI occasionally decides that their Ozone should park it instead of run, which skews the results a little bit, but, you know, work with what we got. So let's line this up. I think we just... So we could go to Death Valley. Did that with the Atlases yesterday. Ideally, you want a space where the Jenners can get maximal movement, where their movement is not impeded. I think Big Lock is out, and I think that the Stacks are out because they're both very... Between the water and the terrain, their movement is a little bit impeded. Honestly, I think Death Valley is probably the best bet because you can get good long moves. There isn't any... Nominally, there isn't any terrain that slows you down. So we'll just take it back there again. We're going to have to watch heat on both sides, but that's fine. The point of this...
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors, prepare for combat.
Is to see how well matched up Bulwark versus Evasive Move is. And I'm not going to lie, I fully expect being the player and not the AI that I will win this match, and I will also win the match where I flip the sides and play the evasive side. It's a matter of how close is the match in either case.
Interface initiated.
So, we're going to run and we're going to gun. And I kind of want to pick a spot. I want to pick a spot where the AI has a chance to actually move around and leverage its evasive move. So I'm not going to... I could take it up the middle. I kind of want to fight either over on the left here or over on the right here. There's just enough space, I think, in the crease between these two big hills on the left, in the middle, and on the right, that you can get some flanking going on. So I'm going to send my... eggs with legs this way. These are the hard-boiled version of eggs with legs, by the way. Real eggs with legs are locusts, and those suckers are about as fragile as it sounds. Look at all that beautiful movement modifier. And that's with just Jenners. That is with no additional help from evasive move.
I'm here.
So, time to post up. Let's see. Let's kind of take a look at how I'm arranged here. Any person in front to go the furthest, I want you to turn there.
On the move.
Because I'm expecting that we're gonna reach contact very, very shortly in this match. So I want to get my ducks in a row, as it were, so that I am standing in place for when the enemy rush hits. So we're gonna pick this rock to kind of park on. Point ourselves vaguely upfield. Commence with the science. Science! Ladies and gentlemen, I love science. In case it wasn't painfully obvious. And I love conducting it. Let's see if the enemy lance finds us this turn. A little surprised. They must be moving relatively cautiously. So let's point everybody upfield. And
I'm there. Standing by.
interestingly enough, even though I'm on a sprint command, because I am only turning in place, I'm not actually moving any hexes, I am getting my bulwark straight away. So, point of note for the future, not that I think it'll ever matter that much. You can get bulwark from a sprint. It's kind of silly, but
Another sensor contact.
it is what it is.
We're doomed.
Oop, probably going to have to turn a little bit to the left. Hold the line. What we got going on here? It's got one guy coming up from the right-hand side. Got one coming from the left. A little you go, I go, as everybody is in phase 4 today. I could reserve. Shall I reserve? I shall reserve. I've already got Bulwark up. I don't feel that bad about giving the enemy lance the first shots here. Let them take their shots.
I just realized I'm sitting on the fusion reactor.
Oh, buckshot. Oof, look at those movement modifiers. Those are some brutal movement modifiers. This is going to be... This might actually be a pretty fair fight, especially now that I'm giving them the first shot. They're focus firing on buckshot like you wouldn't believe here. God, I might be out of weapon system before she even gets the first shot off.
Like that, and I'm dead.
Look at the efficiency by the AI here. I am honestly impressed. They dumped their entire lance's worth of weapon fire into buckshot. Alright, so here is the question. Who do we shoot at first? This guy's got cover up here. This guy's got 5 pips of movement. This guy's further back, so we don't actually care. This guy's got 5 pips of movement. So I think we're just going to focus fire this guy down first. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's no obstructions or anything weird here. So let's just make... Actually, before I do that, I want to turn buckshot just a hair. I just want to turn her just a little bit. Because of rear arc considerations with this guy might just rush right down. So, alright. Let's see what we can do to this guy here. A lot of the first few of these attacks are going to be just total garbage. Because A, gunnery skills aren't great, but also B, chipping through this movement modifier here. Working our way down.
Commander?
Honestly, probably should have shot with Mockingbird first because her gunnery skill is so astonishingly abysmal compared to the rest of the team. I'm going to turn Mockingbird just a hair here.
Coordinates received. Gotcha.
Okay, landing some hits. We've broken internal on one side of their Jenner. So three salvos in. We're a little bit behind, but I think with Sumo, Sumo might catch us up here. Depends on where his shots land, if they land at all. Ooh, right to the CT. Left arm destroyed. Okay, so I think we made up a little ground there. I think it's fair to say that we're about even. Buckshot's gonna get a turn this time. So I'm not gonna be foolish and do something like reserve here.
Right here.
Can't get a line of sight on that one there. Why is that? Is it because of arcs? Nope. Interestingly enough, I just don't have a line of sight to this mech. That's really unfortunate for Buckshot because I don't want to move and give up her bulwark.
On my way.
But I can't fire on the thing that's actually important here, which would be murdering this guy. That's too bad. Alright, so do what we can instead. Fire on this guy on the left.
Targeting. For an alpha strike.
Not bad. Break through some armor. No crits or anything, but take what we can get. There we go. Down one.
Friendly battle mech down.
No kidding. Couldn't tell. Alright, so now at this point...
Commander.
I don't have to line of sight to this guy, but I do to hit this guy. Oh, lordy. Lines of sight are being weird today to me. Okay, alright, hold up a sec. Hold up. Let's back this train right the hell up. This mech fired on buckshot. This is the rock. Not the rock, but a rock, I guess. It had a line of sight to here and a line of fire to here. So unless Mockingbird just doesn't have her arc turned enough, there is no reason why I should not see this guy. Let's see if we can fix that. No. There's absolutely no reason she should not see that guy.
Location confirmed.
Alright, so I can put 40% on this guy over here, or I can put 20% on that guy in the distance that's damaged. We
Copy that.
keep trying to focus targets here. Is it going to get behind? Yep. Alright, so there goes our cover. Probably my mech. Ooh.
I'm taking internal damage.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. Alright. How? What in the hell is going on with the lines of fire here? He's up on a rock, and somehow he still doesn't see either of these two Jenners. Game, you're playing me. I swear you're playing me. Okay. Ozone, I feel, has a very poor opportunity to leverage his guns here. Because the targets I want to shoot at are apparently hiding behind phantom stones. I'm going to give up my bulwark here to make a move of my own.
Move order received.
And here's the problem with bulwark versus fast targets, and this is something that I hinted at in Monday's episode. Things that can get behind you.
Here we go.
Very easily, like Jenners and other fast mechs, are going to present a problem because they can get into your rear arcs. This guy's going to skulk through the trees, so he's kind of splitting the difference between bulwark and a full evasive move.
Okay, not good. Right here.
I am legitimately upset at the fact that this rock is throwing off this entire line of fire, and there's no good reason for this. I'll give that maybe this guy here, Sumo can't see, but I'm calling shenanigans on this one over here. There's no reason he shouldn't be able to see it. And it's in range. It's not optimal, it's long, but it's in range. Sigh. Alright. Let's give up the position for now. There's nothing that says I have to stay in one static location and fight, especially when there's a Jenner crawling up the backside of my lance.
Reporting internal damage.
Confirm.
I'm here.
Yeah, no, that's not great. But I can get behind this guy.
Order acknowledged.
You want to rush up on me? You want to get on my back? That's cool. Two can play at that game. Let's just check the heat situation here. Unfortunately, I need to back off a little bit. So 3 lasers, 4 lasers, or take the laser shots. Yep, don't overheat though.
Copy that. Scored a critical hit.
Alright. Alright. This is
Stability.
a bad day for me versus terrain apparently, because let's get down to ground level on this. Alright, he's uphill. I'll give that this Jenner is uphill. And that this rock does not completely block line of sight. But 2 of those lasers went straight through that rock. Come on now. Come on. Alright. Enough kvetching. Let's see. Let's go with Sumo, who no longer needs to move because his back is against another good wall. I hope. And he has a target right in front of him and is sitting on a ton of heat. So let's back off to just the lasers.
It's so hot in here.
What?
I'm gonna puke.
What? This mech's gonna turn right around and fire on my down mech. Or not.
Confirm.
Alright, so Ozone runs the risk of giving up his back to somebody up here. As much as I'd love to Bulwark, I think I need to evasive move. I don't want to do that, that's going to give up his back. Here we go. Try and make counter moves against the mechs that are crawling down my throat.
Affirmative.
Whoa. Whoa. God, total salvo miss. Coming up empty, Ozone, my friend.
My heat.
Yep, here's the guy that would have crawled up Ozone's backside had I not moved him.
Internal damage, Commander. Orders?
Alright, back to top of the order. Overheating once again. Running right up to the red line.
10-4.
Be nice if you hit with something this time. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Land all 3 shots.
Keep an eye on my heat, Commander.
Of course, it's going to be the first one to move. Oh, right. No, I was going to say I should have got her up, but... Oof. Well, so much for Bulwark, you know, doing the thing we needed to. Sumo, do me a favor. Turn around a little bit.
Yeah?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Here we go.
Right here.
Turn around a little bit. Not a lot. Just need you to turn enough to get a line of sight on this guy here. It's hard to tell through all the UI elements, but I've got a line of sight. And then I need you to plow him. Let's just take a quick check of numbers here. It's got 76 total health in the CT, 41 in the leg. Let me back up a second. No, or actually, let's hit this 85. I don't think my percentage hit's not gonna change. I think it's only 28%. That's weird. I think I just try and go for a kill shot here. And I am going to overheat because I don't need to shut down, but I need to try and kill this mech. Somehow did not kill it.
Hey, watch the heat.
Meanwhile, off in the distance, I feel like the AI is toying with me. Nope, there we go.
Oh boy, that's bad.
Ozone starts to take some heat. Not sure why I decided jumping there was the right move, but okay. Ugh. Losing bits.
Internal damage.
Losing parts fast. Okay.
Yep.
Alright, so Ozone, you have a fantastic opportunity here to just rip and tear. Ah, but your heat is so high. That's a problem. Probably something to be said for trying to keep track of your fury so that you time your ability to use your focus right, but what are you gonna do? Go kick this guy in the back. Why don't we kick this guy in the back? Oh, but his front is so beat up. You know what? Sumo. No, back up. There we go. Do me a favor and punch this guy in the nose. Right in the nose. There we go. Use that thick skull of yours. Even it up a little bit.
Battle mech power-up detected.
That guy's gonna come online. Ozone's still not gonna have a great opportunity here. Could go for the melee.
Copy that.
I'm leaving Sumo a little high and dry there, but if I wanna try and salvage what's left of this game,
Critical hit.
I need to do damage while reducing my heat scale a bit. Oh. Is he gonna carve up Ozone? Nope. I'm gonna carve up Sumo. Sumo is probably screwed. Wow. Just the SRMs.
Got blown up.
And that's why I was hemming and hawing over using mine. Although Sumo's still gonna get hung out to dry here.
Hey, they're coming around the side.
Yeah, you got more armor on your back than your front. You can take it. Mostly. Alright.
Orders.
Ozone has a grand old opportunity to leverage, I think, all of his guns. Just barely. And we're gonna make it. We're gonna make sure it hits.
I'm on him.
It's not quite a kill shot, but
My heat gauge is getting pretty high.
it's getting most of the way there. This might actually... Oh, no. Yep, here we go. Oh, and the split fire. Wow, the AI is just giving me the finger in this match.
I'm catching some serious shit here, Commander.
Ozone, I could not agree more. And I'm sorry that I got you into this.
They're getting the angle on me.
But it seems clear.
Armor blow through.
Surprisingly clear, actually. And I'll get to, I'll explain a little bit after the video's done what I think this is.
Yep.
It seems pretty clear that on mechs of this size, you're going to want Evasion and not Bulwark. Because I am getting worked by the enemy AI here. And the likelihood that Ozone pulls this out on his own is pretty small.
I got you.
Could have gone for that guy's left side, but a little safer up in the trees
Keep an
here.
eye on my heat, Commander.
Problem that I'm muddling through in my mind is that if I try and back off to bleed heat and then make basically hit and run on this remaining lance, gives them all the opportunity to cool off as well. And I think they still have more guns than I do overall. So what's this guy got? Oh, he's just gonna back right up behind me, isn't he? Yup. Yes, he is. Wow, that is a hell of a backwards move. That is a remarkable backwards move.
Armor breach. Internal damage.
Yep.
Orders?
Yep. So let's just keep the dance alive.
Location confirmed.
Break line of sight from those other turkeys. Not being able to leverage all the guns is a real pain. Oh, we can get the SRM back in though.
I'm on him.
Not that it's gonna help. Oh, well. Chipped him down.
My heat gauge is getting pretty high.
Backing up against the Great White Wall here. Although it probably won't get that far.
Confirmed.
I can get into its left side. Zoom out.
You got it.
Turn on the remaining guns. As we disappear off into the fog. Probably not going to get the kill on this Jenner, and even get the thrill of at least a somewhat Pyrrhic victory here. Because contestant number 2 is going to come up and he's just going to pound me from the left, front left, and then this guy's going to wheel back around me again. Yeah, this guy's probably... Oh. Running too hot, apparently. Yep. Wow, so that went
Failed.
completely counter to what I expected, given Monday's matchup of the Hunchbacks versus those Orions. And I think I understand why. I think I know what... there's a couple of things going into this. So, let's walk through the issues here. So, first of all, Bulwark as a skill, when you have not moved, gives you a 50% reduction in damage taken from your front and sides. So let's walk through what that can mean. One, it means that fast targets that get behind you ignore it completely. As we saw here, these Jenners are able to get behind. They're fast enough they can get behind a target. It's not... You can get around Bulwark in that regard fairly easily. And then once you've done that, you're forcing the enemies that are using Bulwark to have to fidget positions, and then they lose Bulwark again because now they have to move. I mean, at best, they turn, they keep their Bulwark. But at worst, like in the middle of this match or so, after I had lost Buckshot, having to actually move my position totally turns off Bulwark and makes it completely useless. The other thing, and I've been thinking about this since Monday, so it's a 50% damage reduction, which on the face of it is fine and great and useful, but it's not an evenly distributed bonus across the different weight classes. So if you consider, thinking back to Monday, I had Hunchbacks, 160 or so armor points per tabletop rules. Applying only 50% damage to that gives them effectively 320 armor points, give or take. Assuming I'm able to leverage the Bulwark against every attack that's thrown at the Hunchbacks, which was pretty easy in Monday's video when the Orions weren't really moving. They couldn't move to positions that really took my Bulwark away. Jenners, at only 35 tons, and also I don't believe they're fully armored. I should have checked that before this video. I think they're slightly less than full armored. Let's say, just for sake of argument, 90 armor points. I don't know that that's completely correct, but let's just say 90. That only, factoring in Bulwark with a 50% damage reduction, doubles up to about 180, which is barely more than a single Hunchback's worth of armor. The point I'm trying to make here is that the amount of scaling that you get in terms of effective armor from Bulwark is much lower on the lighter mechs than it's going to be on the mediums and the heavies and then into the assaults. I think that makes Bulwark a much less attractive pilot skill for light mech pilots than even medium mech pilots. Because if you're only bringing your armor value up to effectively what a medium can bring to the table, and you're not bringing medium mech armaments, you're not really, I don't feel like you're really getting what you want out of that kind of combination of things. In this matchup, and it's interesting to look at the focus fire situation, because the AI did a very good job in those early rounds of focusing fire on Buckshot. You had 4, 8, 12, 16 medium lasers and 4x4 SRMs, so 16, an SRM 16 essentially, all focused fired on Buckshot's Jenner. I think if that were a Hunchback, it would have much more easily survived having used Bulwark. But because the Jenner has a much lower starting armor value from which to work with the Bulwark preventing damage, I think you just end up losing, you get blown out. And clearly it worked. The AI, in an astonishing fit of competency, focus fired Buckshot down in a way I don't know that I've seen in a long while in this game. Flip it around. Let's look at the other side. Because Jenners do have good speed, they very, very much benefit from evasive move. It was very easy for the AI to find positions with a normal, not sprinting move, just a normal move that was giving them 4 or 5 movement modifier pips while putting my mechs in line of sight in optimal range. 4 or 5 movement pips is 20 to 25% reduction. Percent. 2 hit numbers, minus 25%, minus 20%. When everybody's fighting with gunnery 4 and 5 to begin with, where your 2-hit number probably starts at about 60, 65, I think was where we topped out. That 25% is murderous on being able to hit the targets. So there's definitely a split, I think. And I want to continue to do a few more videos on this just to really, really dig into this. I think if you are in a light mech, it seems obvious to say this, but it seems like if you're in light mechs, you want evasive move because you're more readily going to trigger the bonus movement modifier pips versus being in a heavy or assault where it would be difficult to get the bonus movement modifier pips, and instead take Bulwark, where the additional armor that you're already bringing is force multiplied by the Bulwark skill. Mediums might be in a weird middle ground. I think it'll depend on what medium chassis you specifically talk about. Hunchbacks, for instance, are not particularly fast, so they don't benefit real well from evasive move, but Bulwark clearly works out great on those. But if you bring something more like, and we don't have it technically in game yet, like a Cicada, that's basically like a big light mech. It's a medium mech, but it's really a big light mech. That one probably benefits more from evasive move. And again, saying this, kind of walking through this out loud, it seems obvious. You want your light mechs having evasive move, and you want your things that aren't going to be moving much to have Bulwark, to make them even more durable. But it is worth looking at the case, are these skills blanket applicable? And I think the answer is quickly becoming this week, no, they're not blanket applicable. You get very much diminishing returns for evasive move as you move up the weight classes, and you get very much diminishing returns for Bulwark as you move down the weight classes. And that's good to know. Like, that points to me that there are skills. Not every skill is applicable in every situation, which is kind of what you want. You don't want any particular pilot skill to become dominant in every single case, in every single scenario. So that's good. I will caveat that I think Bulwark is probably still overtuned, and I'm gonna explore that some more. Because I think much like Monday's video with the Hunchbacks versus Orions, I want to do another one with, say, Hunchbacks versus Atlases. I honestly think that might be a fair fight. But this was not a fair fight today, as my Jenners get shellacked hard by the enemy team. The Bulwark clearly not making up for the loss of the maneuverability of these Jenners in 12 rounds, 27 minutes and 7 seconds. Buckshot, the unfortunate recipient of astonishing, competent, focused fire from the AI, and then it was just dominoes from there on. Mockingbird, Sumo into Ozone. Kinda hard sledding uphill once you lose your first mech, especially in this scenario where I'm giving up all of my movement modifier to stand still, making their shots very easy to hit. So, I got one. I got Ozone. That's funny. So Bulwark, evasive move. Evasive move, clearly in a place. Bulwark requires more investigation. But that'll be all for today's BattleTech in the morning. I am the tech in the lab, now having to repair all of these mechs. Captain Nips, oh boy. You know what? Scrap them. We'll order new ones. They're Jenners. They're cheap. I wish all of you a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, and night. And I will see all of you in the next video.